Hey guys, welcome into this weekend's MLS show. It might be international break, but there's still MLS Matchday 19 on Saturday, June 8th, with a short card with just 4 games. Despite a quiet week of games, we have had a busy week with Atlanta coach Gonzalo Pinedo being fired, Columbus GM and president Tim Bezbatchenko stepping down to take on other opportunities, and San Diego making a major announcement signing Chucky Lozano from PSV for their inaugural season next year. Now, we'll get on to this week's games, just the 4 of them, in just a quick moment. But before that, a quick mention from the channel's newest partner. And if you're looking to boost your bankroll with the top sports betting bonuses this summer, heading into the Euros and Copa America, then look no further. Shred the Spread has partnered with BetStamp and Sign Up Expert to bring you the top sportsbook bonuses you can receive from all of the best online sportsbooks in the industry. If you click on the link, signupexpert.com/thespread, which I'll drop in the description and in the comments as well, you can see all the best sports books in your location. Now from there, you can claim the best bonus bets, sports betting promo codes, risk-free bets, and claim sportsbook 100% bonus offers from a wide range of online legal sports books in your area. When shopping for the best sports betting odds and new customer promotions, be sure to help out the channel and use that link, signupexpert.com/thespread. Now, we have 4 games to get into, and with it being international break, all of these teams certainly have some international absences to worry about, some more than others. Let's start with New England and the New York Red Bulls. For New England, they're out Esmir Bajratovic, Noel Buck, Henrik Ravis. New York Red Bulls, they're out Emil Forsberg, Lewis Morgan, John Tolkien, keeper Carlos Coronel, Noah Ely as well. New England got a win last week, 2-1 in Nashville, but that's just their 3rd win on the season. They're still the Wooden Spoon leaders at 3-1-10, just 10 points on the season as well. They've also allowed a goal in all but 2 games, those being 1-0 wins over teams they don't score very often, like Chicago and Charlotte. Meanwhile, New York won at home in a tight 1-0 over Orlando in their last game. They're 4th in the East. They have wins in 4 of 5, just 2 losses in 12, and they've scored a goal in 13 of 16 and also in 8 straight. When these teams met on May 11th, it was 4-2 for the Bulls, but it was just 2-1 New York until a lot of late goals coming in the 84th, the 90th, and the 93rd minutes. So while that scoreline certainly looks like there was a lot of goals, a lot of them did come late. The home team has won each of the last 5 meetings between these teams, and the Revs have just 1 win in that time. But the New York has not been great on the road. They're so-so this season. They're 3-3-3. They have been outscored, though, 17-14, and they've conceded a goal in each of their last 8 road games. And the Red Bulls, clearly, obviously, the better team. New England's been the worst team, but the Red Bulls do have several key players away, several defensive players away, and this could be a spot, if there ever is one, for the Revs to build off of last week's win coming home here. So I would want to look, oddly, in some way, shape, or form towards the New England Revolution here, as this could just be a spot for them to take advantage of. You could certainly maybe consider the draw as a single bet. That would be some decent value there. Maybe New England draw no bet at +105 to be a little bit safer. Or if you were looking for parlay pieces, New England double chance to be the win or draw, or simply New England to possibly score as a parlay piece as well. Let's move on to Minnesota and FC Dallas. For Minnesota, they are probably the team most affected by the international absence of the 8 teams that are playing this weekend. They're out Robin Lod, Tani Oluwashi, Dane Sinclair, Kevin Arriaga, Alejandro Bran, Carlos Harvey, Timo Pukki, Joseph Rosales, Zarek Valentin as well. All said, 18 of their 27 goals are missing from the season this week. Meanwhile, Dallas actually have no major losses or call-ups really to worry about here. Minnesota might be 3rd, Dallas are 12th, but all those absences could even this out a little bit. After losing 2-0 to LAFC, the Loons got back on track with a 3-1 win over SKC last weekend. That game too was 3-0 until a late goal. That makes them 5-2-1 in their past 8. The win saw them return to scoring 2 or more goals. Now they've done that in 7 of 8 games and improved their overall scoring record to scoring in 13 of 15 games on the season. The 2 games where they didn't score both came on the road. They'll be at home here. At home, they scored in 11 straight MLS games going back into last season and also in 20 of 21. Recent home score lines for Minnesota have read 3-1 win, a 2-1 win, 2-2 draw, 2-1 win, 2-1 loss, and 2-1. So it's been multiple Loons goals and both teams to score bets hitting with a lot of regularity lately. Dallas's last game came versus LAFC, and they kept it close, just losing 1-0. The scoreline certainly could have been much worse, though. LAFC had 19 shots, 9 of which were on target. FC Dallas hadn't lost in 5 games a few games back, but they're now winless in 3. They've lost 1-0, 3-1, and have drawn 3-3 in those last 3 games. Now, being 2-6 and being outscored 14-6 in their road MLS games, that might be a streak that's tough to end going into Minnesota, who's been very strong at home. Last year it was 0-0 and 1-0 Minnesota, so we had some low-scoring games between these teams last year. No matter the winner in this game, you could make a case for 2 goals being scored in some way, shape, or form. All 15 Minnesota games this season have seen 2 or more goals, while 12 of 15 Dallas games have seen 2 or more as well. Tani and Robin Lod have been carrying the load for Minnesota this season, and they're in great form. They have 7 and 5 goals each. Tani's even grabbed a starting spot away from Timo Pukki, but each of those players being away is obviously a huge blow for the Minnesota offense this season. Now, if everybody was here for Minnesota, I'd certainly have to look towards a Minnesota win. But with so many absentees and Dallas just struggling for most of the year, this just might not be as exciting as a game as it potentially could have been. So I could see this maybe being very low scoring, like the games last season. I think an under could be in play here. Under 2.5 could get you plus 120, or if you wanted to go into a parlay and go under 3.5 to be even safer, those could be some options as well. Let's go on to Sporting Kansas City and the Seattle Sounders. SKC have no major losses due to call-ups this week. Seattle, Nuhutolo, he will be gone, but they should have Raul Ruiz-Diaz, who does not get called up to Peru. It's 14th SKC and 10th Seattle here. Oddly, road teams in this head-to-head matchup have won 6 of the past 8 meetings. It's not always the case with road teams often struggling. And both of the road teams won last season. Seattle 4-1, SKC 2-1. So we saw lots of goals when these teams played last year. SKC aren't winning anywhere, home or away though this season. They're 2-5-9, 28th in the league. That's second to last. They lost last week in Minnesota, 3-1. They have 0 wins in their last 10 MLS games, and only 2 U.S. Open Cup wins, breaking that up. What's even worse is the fact they've allowed multiple goals in 5 straight and also in 9 of their last 10. Overall, they've given up a goal or more in 15 of 16 games this season. They have, though, at least managed to get on the score sheet in most games, scoring in 14 of 16. Seattle continues to slowly round into form after a slow start. They drew one of the hottest teams, RSL, in their last game, 1-1, and they will be fresh, having been off last weekend as well. If you include the U.S. Open Cup, Seattle is 5-3-1, so that's just 1 loss in their last 9, only losing away to RSL. No shame there. That's also only the second time in 10 games they have not scored. The way SKC games have been going with them scoring and conceding and at least being at home here despite their poor form, this could certainly look like a good both teams to score bet if you wanted to go that route, which would come in at minus 145. And the last game on the schedule, to me, it looks like the most exciting, St. Louis City and Portland Timbers. St. Louis, they avoided having too many call-ups. Really only defender Kyle Hebert for Canada got called up. For Portland, Maxime Crepeau, the keeper, Kamal Miller, defense, and Miguel Araujo also away. So they have some key defensive players missing here. Now, any game involving the Timbers makes my eyes go wide with anticipation for betting goals. They drew Houston 2-2 last week, and Houston's one of those teams that usually play lower scoring games. And they have seen Portland have the second most of both teams to score bets cashing, with 82% of their games seeing that bet cash. Only SKC games have seen more. St. Louis has a little bit lower rate of both teams to score bets, but after a 3-3 draw with Miami last game, 67% of their games have also ended with both teams scoring. Portland games average 3.8 goals per match. St. Louis's 3.2. Portland's gone 14-3 to over 2.5, 16-1 to over 1.5. St. Louis is 9-6 to over 2.5, and 12-3 to over 1.5. Portland shut out Austin 2-0 in Matchday 17 action, but that's their only clean sheet on the season. They've given up 2 or more goals in 11 of 13 and in 13 of 17 games overall. However, the 32 goals for, as bad as their defense has been, their offense has been just as good. Those 32 goals are the 3rd best overall in MLS, only behind RSL's 36 and Miami's 42. A run of 9 winless games, though, has been snapped for Portland, and they have been improving. They're 3-1-1 in their past 5. If we flip things back over to St. Louis, that 3-3 road draw with Miami is impressive, but it's still 0 wins in 4 for City, and they've given up goals of 3-2, 3-2, and 1 in their recent games. They only have 1 win in 7 and just 2 wins in 13. But at home, to home MLS games, when they're playing at home at City Park, they've scored in 21 of 26 all-time matches going back to last season, which was their first, and in 7 of 9 in all competitions, counting the Champions Cup this season. Last year, both teams won 2-1 on the road, and to me, that looks like a very likely scoreline for someone to finish with again this time as well. You can never trust Portland to play good defense, even with a full lineup, and this will not be the case this week with their keeper and defenders missing, and they also have Diego Chara, who is suspended. They're rarely a good bet to play on when he's not in the lineup. However, they should have all of their offensive players available. So to me, this looks like a clear both teams to score, or even both teams to score and over 2.5. The both teams to score will be minus 200. The both teams to score and over 2.5 you can find at minus 138 over at Bet365. Now, I've touched on potential individual bets for each of these games, but there's a lot of uncertainty with players missing. So let's just, like I do most weeks, play it safe with a parlay. This week there'll just be one. The best bet of this week for me, the MLS parlay of the week, will be St. Louis and Portland, both teams to score and over 2.5, paired with Sporting Kansas City and Seattle, simply over 1.5 goals. Those odds would come in at plus 115 odds for this weekend's MLS Best Bets. Now, it's a small card, but what else do you like this weekend? How are you betting these 4 games? Put your picks down there in the comments. Give the video a like. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to get more soccer picks as we have the Euros and the Copa America coming up. And let's hope to get some winners this weekend.